I've given thought from time to time about getting an old Volkswagen camper van and a big old striped tent and a bunch of Kentucky Fried Chicken buckets and being a traveling evangelist. And what I've decided I needed, if I do that, I need to take Logan and Emerson with me wherever I go and let them be in charge of the offering, because I'm telling you, they're tough. Those boys, I don't know if they are on you, but up here, Emerson was holding his bucket for me, and I asked him, I said, how much should I put in here? All of it. That was the response. It wasn't all of it, Pastor Tim. All of it. So, they're good at it, Logan. You got it down. Even he came by and wanted to make sure all of it was gone. Show him the empty bag. So we might hit the trail one of these days, Logan. You don't have to learn to play the piano though, because I sure can't do that. I don't think we really have any idea how significant Stephen and his ministry was to the early church. We're going to look at that right now, and I want us, but as I've been working on this all week long, I've been so impressed by this man, and I think he was a young man. If you have any proof otherwise, let me know. But I believe he was a young man. The heart that he had, the knowledge that he had, the ability to communicate that he had, all of those things were so significant. And let me back up just a little bit and set the scene for you. Let me remind you that there had been grumbling in the early church because the Hellenist Jews, the widows and orphans, were not being taken care of as well as the Hebrew widows and orphans. And so this was a fracture in the early church that really could have sunk a lot of organizations. It was a big problem, and there was quite a bit of conflict. You know, there would have to be for it to be given the time that it's given here in the book of Acts and the settling of this dispute. And they decided to choose 7 men. And do you remember the qualifications? They were to be young men, or to be men full of the Spirit and full of wisdom, to have a spiritual strength and to have good old horse sense as well. And one of the 7 that was chosen was Stephen. But I read an argument by a theologian this week who argued that Stephen wasn't really functioning like the 7 were intended to function, and that was to sit at the table, hear complaints from the widows and orphans, and keep careful records about what had been given to whom, and etc. That Stephen was working more as an evangelist. He was beating the drum for Christ. So was Philip, by the way. This theologian argued that those 2 really didn't function in the way that they had been originally chosen. I don't know if you can truly make that argument, but I do know is that Stephen and Philip were evangelistic and they were fervent. And so you find here when you get into the 6th chapter and into the 7th chapter of Acts, you find Stephen who is just continually preaching Christ. And in that message about Christ, Stephen is continually holding up the living Christ and the change that Christ is bringing in their hearts and in their lives at this very time. Now let me say this again because I'm not sure it's completely understood. Every Christian that existed at this time was Jewish. Every Christian. There was no Christian at this time in the life of the church that was not Jewish. And so Christianity was seen as kind of a branch coming off of this big, old, huge tree that we call the Jewish faith. But Christianity, that branch kept getting stronger and stronger, and they would not shut up. They had been told in every way possible, not just told, but they had been beaten in horrible ways, not just a little tap or some of us got a belt when we were young, nothing like that. These guys were beaten until they could hardly walk and told, shut up, don't talk anymore about Jesus Christ. He's dead. They never offered, by the way, never offered to say where he was. They had an empty tomb, and nobody could show a body or anything, but they continued to do that. And Stephen, just like Peter had been and John had been, Stephen continued to preach about the living Jesus Christ and the change that he was bringing. And the Christian church was growing. It was growing exponentially because people could see the change in people's lives that Christ had brought. And by the way, that's the greatest witness you can have as a Christian in Morgan County, is to live a changed life. That's what people want to see. Now that's not all we do. We have to also have a verbal witness. You'll run into Christians, sometimes they'll say, well, yeah, my witness is the life I live and the good things I do or whatever. That doesn't have the value it used to have because some of the most moral people in our country are not Christians. They're people from other faiths, Hindus, Buddhists, etc. And so it's got to be a verbal witness along with living a changed life. But that was happening here in the early church, and it was growing exponentially. Stephen was living a changed life, but Stephen also was preaching like crazy. Right there at the edge of the Sanhedrin court, at the edge of the temple, Stephen was preaching the message of Christ like crazy. He would not shut up. Thank God that's true. What a brave man that he was for the cause of Christ. And so let me just read a verse or two that comes before the passage that Doug read, just to again set our course right. It says, and the high priest said, are these things so? What things? Well, the fact that Stephen had been preaching Christ and God had been performing lots of miracles through Stephen. In fact, the Bible hints that there are more miracles taking place through Stephen than took place through Peter or John or any of the other disciples. Miracles happened through them, but they were really happening through Stephen. And he's doing it all right out there close to the temple, probably on that portico area, and he's preaching and he's touching people who have physical problems, and God is healing them through him. And so the high priest is looking at Stephen and says, the high priest said, are these things so? And so that was just like for Stephen reaching over, getting the electric switch and throwing it up into high gear. Stephen comes back, brothers and fathers, hear me. The God of glory appeared to our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia. I won't read all that. I'd love to and make points all the way through, but let me just stop and say this. Stephen now begins in the second verse, 53 verses. Now you think my sermons are a little long sometimes. You're supposed to like this. I saw some. 53 verses, that's a lot of a sermon, but that's where Stephen goes in. And it's just like Stephen had lost all counsel he had been given when the high priest of the Sanhedrin court, he's the number one guy in the world in the Jewish faith. The most important person in the world looks at Stephen and says, is that true? And Stephen, rather than lowering his head, like many of us probably would do if we were honest, rather than lowering his head and say, well, Stephen just punches him right in the teeth. Right out of the get-go, boom! Let me tell you, 53 verses. He goes through laying down the word and saying to these people that they were the ones who had committed blasphemy. Woo! I mean, can you imagine standing there telling these men this and giving them a history lesson? Gamaliel, who is the head of the Sanhedrin, who was Saul of Tarsus's mentor teacher, is the one who's listening and asking some of these questions. And I'm sure that he expected a little bit of meekness and humility here, but Stephen wasn't that he wanted to be proud, it was he wanted to get out the truth. And so he starts with Abraham. He goes through in the early verses of the 7th chapter and tells about Abraham and how God had spoken to Abraham, how God had blessed Abraham, and a huge major point that Stephen is making all the way through these 53 verses. And he's going to talk about Abraham, listen to this list, Abraham, Moses, he's going to talk about David and Solomon, he's going to talk about Joseph, the pillars of the Jewish faith, and he's going to make this point all the way through. And the point that he makes with Abraham is how God had blessed Abraham, how God had provided for Abraham, and guess what? Abraham had never been in the temple because one of the main charges, there were two charges against Stephen. One of the main charges was that he was repeating the words that Jesus had used, that the Son of Man could tear the temple down in 3 days, bring it back again. You remember that statement that Jesus had made? Well, they've known that. They know that Stephen had been repeating that. So Stephen is going to make the point all the way through these 53 verses. Here are 4 of the pillars of your faith who had never been in the temple, because their contention was that if God was going to do it, it had to be in the temple on Mount Sinai. That's where it had to take place. And anything that's happening outside of that temple makes no difference. God's presence is in the temple, in the Holy of Holies. They talk at one time of the year, we go in and the high priest makes the sacrifice, etc. And Stephen is trying to show them that God hadn't been limited to the temple. And he mentions, as I said, Abraham, he mentions Joseph, Moses, David and Solomon. And until Solomon built that big, beautiful temple, that God, through all of this, had not been limited to the temple. And his point is, God is not limited to the temple right now. God can do things all around us, outside the temple. This is a laying of a major, it's almost too small to say major. It may be the major, one of the major points of Christianity, period. They're not there yet in taking Christianity outside of Judaism. They're not sharing Christ with those that are not Jews. But you can see his sermon is such a huge fraction in that wall that separated Jews from the Gentiles. He's laying that. God's not limited to this place. And so we can read through here, and he continues to talk. He says in the 9th verse, and the patriarchs, jealous of Joseph, sold him into Egypt, but God was with him. He rescued him out of all of his afflictions, gave him favor and wisdom before Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who made him ruler over all of Egypt and over all of his household. He's just walking it down through there, showing that God is not limited to the temple. And God was doing great things through these early patriarchs. And so it's to get to the place where we were reading, it says, well, let me just go back to verse 51. It says, you stiff-necked people. That's a phrase that Jesus has used, but that's also a phrase that God through Moses used about 3 times when the people who had come out of Egypt were out at Mount Sinai, and when Moses was up in the presence of God, they formed a golden calf and they worshipped it, and God called them a stiff-necked people. You know what's significant about the phrase stiff-necked people? I hope none of us are stiff-necked people. It doesn't just mean that you're not humble. What it means is you can't bow. You can't bow before God. You won't bow before God. I think there are Christians who can't because of their attitudes or whatever. They've gotten so far from God. They accepted Christ in a vacation Bible school when they were 9 years old. Now here they are, they're 59, 69 years old, and things have kind of gone their way for decades, and they built up a really good retirement. And oh, by the way, they have a nice second home down at Orange Beach, and they're doing really well, drive any kind of car they want, and they might say, I won't bow to anybody. You ever heard anybody say that? I won't bow to anybody. And the Bible says in the 2nd chapter of Philippians that at the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow, every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord to the glory of God. So he says, you stiff-necked people, uncircumcised in heart and ears, you always resist the Holy Spirit. As your fathers did, so do you. Which of the prophets did not your fathers persecute? He's giving the history, and he's telling the honest truth about how the Jewish people, many times, God sent great speakers and leaders to them, and they killed them. They killed those who announced beforehand the coming of the righteous one, whom you have now betrayed and murdered. You talk about guts. He's talking to the Sanhedrin. He's pointing his finger at them. And he's just told them, you murdered Jesus Christ. You who received the law was delivered by angels and did not keep it. And then the 54th verse it says, and now when they heard these things, they were enraged. And they ground their teeth at him. But he, full of the Holy Spirit, gazed into heaven and saw the glory of God, and Jesus, what's the next one? I'm not leaving until you give it to me. Standing. standing. Now I can show you about 4 or 5 other places in the New Testament where Jesus is sitting, showing God's final work has been done through Jesus. The work's done. And he's sitting. But here, what's he doing? Yeah, I love it. He is standing. Why do you think he's standing here and he's sitting all those other times? You know how they would say it in my redneck part of the universe? Because that's one of his boys. That's one of his boys. And he's watching. And I think he's ready to explode. I can't prove that biblically. I wish I could. But I think he's watching and he's ready to explode. Because of what's going on for him and his name and for the cause of Christ. And he said, behold, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God. But they cried out with a loud voice, stopped their ears, and rushed together at him. The Greek verb, and I don't like to do this a lot, but it's important here. The Greek verb, they rushed toward him, or do you have they ran toward him? Any of you have that? That Greek verb is the same verb that's used in describing how the pigs ran from the Gadarene demoniac. Same word. That means they were hauled out of there and toward Stephen. It says, then they cast him out of the city and stoned him. Now that was an illegal act. You couldn't execute anybody. The Jewish leaders couldn't execute anybody. That's why Jesus had to go before the Roman court. He looked over to the Jewish people and said, what do you want me to do with it? I can find no fault in this thing. And then they're the ones that put that little judgment into Pilate's ears. But he's the one that had to call it out. But here, they didn't care what the law was, the Roman government. And they probably, if they stopped and thought about it, they probably knew the Roman government was going to say anything anyway. This is not something they wanted to get into. But it says, and they stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their garments at the feet of the young man and saw. Why did they lay down their garments? This was really hard work. They don't have a bag of gravel. They get major stones to throw to hit Stephen. And they didn't want anything binding them. So they laid those garments over to the feet of the young man named Saul. Just think of the impression that made on this young man Saul. He's already a scholar. He's a scholar. He had a Jewish heritage that was second to none. And he's standing there watching this Christian man be stoned and be killed, and he's seeing how that's being done. I wish he would have hit his knees at that moment and accepted Christ as his Savior and Lord. He didn't. But think of how God used that. In fact, Paul refers to it later. Think how God used that for later on. Let me pull back and say this in parentheses. When you go through one of those terrible times, your family goes through one of those terrible times, people are watching. They're watching to see how Christians handle themselves, what they say. I want to tell you the good news from what I've seen people go through some really bad times. But I've seen them go through not throwing their Christianity in the garbage, but keeping their faith in Christ. Now they grieved, of course. I don't trust people that go through devastation just with a little laugh and, praise Jesus, kind of that. I don't trust those kind of people. I think God expects us to grieve. God built grief into us. That's a godly thing. That's a good thing. But there are people that are watching. And there are some Christians, unfortunately, when things get kind of rough, it's just, acting like there was no God in their life in the first place. Not making a difference in their life at all. And it says, as they were stoning Stephen, he called out, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. And falling to his knees, he cried out with a loud voice, Lord, do not hold this sin against them. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. I hope God will give me the ability to say something like that if I were treated in such a way. These kinds of martyrdoms, actually there are more of them today than there were in the early days of the church. Did you know that? Did you know there are more Christians killed for their faith today in our world than in the first 100 years of the Christian faith? There are people that are taken out and slaughtered by the dozens and the dozens because of their Christian faith. And I would hope that I could and we could say something like this. Lord, do not hold this sin against them, and then fall asleep. And then it tells in the next two verses that Doug read for us, Saul continued his rampage of execution. I had to go to Memphis, Tennessee one day with a man who's a good friend of mine. His name is Cyrus Gunga. Cyrus had been a headmaster of a school in Kenya. And the tradition was, in those days, at that time, still is, by the way, that young girls would go through a self-mutilation process in Kenya. And Cyrus started teaching the girls in his school that was wrong, that they didn't need to do that anymore. And so Cyrus started being harassed. He would go to the police, and the police in countries like this lots of times are corrupt. He would go to the police and tell them what had happened, and they would say, well, unfortunately, we don't have any gas, we don't have any money for gas. If you could help us, we could maybe help you. So he went through that for some time, and then one night, these mean people broke into Cyrus' home, and they attacked Cyrus. One man was holding a machete, it's about this long, and he took that machete and he held it in front of Cyrus' neck. And while he was holding Cyrus, those men assaulted his wife and daughters in his presence. When I was with him, he was applying for asylum here in America. And by the way, when you see the word asylum seeker, see that phrase? Those are not all bad people that are trying to sneak into this country. I had to sit there in Memphis with Cyrus, with a man from an immigration office, and the man didn't want me to be there at all. When he first saw me there with Cyrus, he said, "Who's this?" Cyrus said, "This is my pastor." and he grumbled a little bit. He let me stay. And Cyrus had to recount that whole story that he had gone through. And he was given asylum in this country. We finally got to bring his wife and all his children, and they live in Knoxville today. But my point is, Cyrus was persecuted for his faith. There are other Christians who are persecuted for their faith, just like Stephen was persecuted and killed for his faith. So what's the point for us this morning? I'm going to make two quick points. One is, if you have an opportunity to help with Christians who are in parts of the world who are being persecuted, please help, because there is a need out there all over the world. And I think more importantly for us, First Christian Hartselle, I would ask the question, what would you be willing to do for your Lord and for your faith? Fortunately, most of us will never face any kind of persecution like this. I hope it could happen, but we probably won't. And I think the bigger question for us is, what opportunities do we have to show our faith every day? We have Christians who wouldn't walk across the street to share their faith. We have Christians that won't get out of bed, go to church. That's a way to show their faith in our community, in the neighborhood. We could go on and on. Let's think about the price that Stephen was willing to pay and the call that God puts on our lives to be a witness, not as dramatically, obviously, as Stephen, but calling us just the same to be a witness. If you're here this morning and you don't know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior and Lord, I would ask you to consider inviting him into your life today by repenting of your sins and following him and accepting him as Savior and Lord. If you're here this morning, you're not an active member of the local church, I'll say again, you can't be in the center of God's will, in my opinion, without being there, because God loves the church. Whatever decision God might have put on your heart this morning, I would invite you to make it public as we stand and sing.